And coming in at number 7, well, Al, Brunson had a hand in this one too, man, because it was one of the Knicks' statement wins of the season, and that was a 116-110 win over what could be the NBA champions, Denver Nuggets, who at that time on March 18th were the number 1 seed in the West. Came into Madison Square Garden at full strength. I was in the building for this one. Brunson coming back from a foot injury, first game back from the foot injury, scored 16 points in the first quarter. And we had ourselves a good game, man. Knicks actually, they took an early lead, but in the second half found themselves down by as much as 13, man. But a monster comeback led by Brunson, led by Julius Randle, R.J. Barrett also chipping in this game. Mitchell Robinson having some high marks there. You had 23 points combined between Quickly and Hart. And the Knicks were able to beat this Denver team, not once, but twice in the regular season. This game with the Nuggets having their guys at full strength. 116-110. Big win. To me, this was their biggest win of the season against the best team in the West, man. The best team in the West. What was your takeaways from this one?
Best team in the West, as you said. You're facing 2-time MVP and Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, solid Robin to Jokic Batman. Team is deep, as we're seeing throughout this playoff run. And for the Knicks to compete with them, this is where you knew you had something special for this team and that they could potentially make some noise in the playoffs. So, look, man, I thoroughly enjoyed this game. Jumped out the window for this one, as well as me and our guy Jeff, a.k.a. G Money. As our guy Cody Glock would say. You called in that day, too.
I did. I called in late. Afterwards, yeah.
But it was great, man. I just remember all the calls coming in, like the vibes were truly immaculate.
The vibes were immaculate.
Truly immaculate that day. Everyone was just like, yo, we got this team. Love this team. I mean, it was top shelf, man.
Yeah.
Top shelf.
Yeah. Well, it was just it was just one of those games where, I hate to say a litmus test type of game because obviously in the playoffs things change. But it was just one of those games where you wanted to see how this team stacked up against the best. And in a matinee game at Madison Square Garden, they came to play. Like I said, this Denver team was at full strength. They had the Joker, they had Murray, they had MPJ, they had all their guys. And the Knicks stepped up to the plate. And it was just part of them really taking form as they made their push for that 4th seed. They were in 5, they were in 4. They're trying to separate themselves from Miami and from the rest of the pack. But you kind of just saw how this team was starting to take form as they pushed towards the playoffs. And then with Brunson coming back from the foot injury, not sure how he would respond or how he would play, and having a big part of that. He had Brunson with 24, Julius with 20, RJ with 21, and then on that one of the signature plays of that game was Brunson finding Mitch for the Gotham lob, and it was important for Mitch as well because Mitch had been struggling going into that game as well, so it was kind of cool to see. And remember, this was a point where Mitch was tight because he didn't have a bigger role in the offense. He was looking for the ball more. So to kind of see that be kind of the icing on the cake in that game where it was a Brunson to Mitch on a Gotham lob, signature win on a matinee, that was a good win. To me, that was the best win of the season for me for this Knicks team.
For sure. And the last thing, too, is that you think about where they were coming from, that West Coast trip, right? Like, that was an up and down West Coast trip. You just lost after defeating Boston in double OT. You go home, you lose to the Hornets, you lose to the Kings. You then lose to the Clippers. You beat the Lakers, you beat the Trailblazers, but you did without Brunson. But that team was very shaky, man. I mean, Grimes wasn't really getting to the rhythm on some of those games. Like he was either utilized in the first quarter or the first half, then just went to the wayside. Julius was struggling in that series. Quickly struggled a little bit throughout the West Coast trip. So to see this team get back into rhythm against one of the top teams in the West, I think that's another reason why this win was just so, it was just so great.
Yeah.